Hi everyone! The other morning I burnt the toast. Not slightly burnt either, I mean smoke alarm. Quick! Flap the tea towel around before Daisy my dog loses her mind. Sort of burnt. And as I stood there scraping black carbon into the sink, I had one of those weird leadership thoughts that seem to arrive at very inconvenient times. How burnt do leaders think they're supposed to be before they finally slow down? Because if we're honest, education's developed this strange relationship with exhaustion. We almost celebrate it, don't we? How are things? Busy, flat out, absolutely smashed, running on fumes even. And honestly, the more I thought about it, the more I realised leadership and toast actually have an awful lot in common. Burnout rarely arrives all at once. It cooks slowly, quietly, incrementally. A bit like forgetting the toast because someone walked into your office and said, "Hey, you got 5 minutes," which, as we all know in education, means there goes my whole morning. So I want you to think honestly for a moment. Where are you sitting on the toast scale right now? Because I've developed the 6-stage burnt toast scale just for you. First up, the first stage, turn it up a little. This is barely toast at all. It's the "I'm fine, I'm cruising, nothing much is happening" stage. Oddly enough, there's danger here too, because you see, leadership actually needs a little bit of heat. Without challenge, without pressure, without momentum, things can taste just a little bit stale. You know, some stress is useful. It energizes us, sharpens us, keeps us moving. And then we hit the sweet spot, stage 2, the Goldilocks slice. This is where leadership feels meaningful, not easy, not perfect, but good. There's challenge, there's movement, there's purpose, and there's still recovery. You can still laugh, you can still think clearly, you can still go home and be a vaguely reasonable human being. You finish the day tired but satisfied. Yep, that's a hard day, but a good hard. I reckon this is where many of us first discovered that we actually liked leadership. You know, the people and the buzz and the problem solving. But if we keep on turning up the heat, we get to stage 3 and the warning light is on. Now this stage is dangerous because it still works. You can still lead meetings, answer emails, present professionally. You can even convince yourself that you're coping. Meanwhile, your sleep's wobbling a little bit and your patience is shorter and your brain's noisier. And your family's quietly wondering why you're emotionally unavailable by Wednesday. Educational leaders are amazing at this stage, Olympic level amazing, because we're so used to carrying things, aren't we? But there's a trap. At this stage, people often praise you. "Whoa, you're smashing it," they say, and "how do you do it all?" Meanwhile, internally, you're saying, "I actually have no idea." This is where recovery quietly disappears. And without recovery, heat eventually becomes damage. Now we're properly into burnt toast territory, stage 4. This is the cover it with butter, raspberry jam, and a little bit of peanut butter, and pretend it's all fine stage. Honestly, this is where a lot of educational leadership sits. We compensate brilliantly here through caffeine and adrenaline and busyness and forced positivity, pretending even. And we become incredibly skilled at functioning publicly while quietly falling apart privately. This is where humour disappears, creativity disappears, joy disappears. Everything becomes transactional. You stop experiencing leadership and you start enduring it. And achievement can hide burnout beautifully. So can competence. So can professionalism. But underneath, the thing's burning. And if we stay here long enough, stage 5, here eventually leadership starts leaving more than a bad taste. Maybe the toast now needs more than raspberry jam and peanut butter. Maybe it tastes better with a 6-pack of Spates or a visit to the doctor for antidepressants. This is where your body starts yelling, usually around 3:17 a.m. Relationships strain, cynicism creeps in, exhaustion becomes normal. And one of the saddest things in education is this. Many brilliant leaders think that this stage is leadership. They think that they get the big bucks, and so this is what they should endure. This is sustained overload, and eventually the system always collects the debt. Not because people stop caring, but because they cared too much for too long without enough recovery. And finally, stage 6, the charcoal slice. The one where the smoke alarm's gone off and even the dogs left the kitchen. At this point, there's not much nourishment left, not at all. I've been there, it's not flash, this is real exhaustion, the kind where people just can't get out of bed, or they have to leave leadership, or they have to leave education, or they stay physically present while emotionally gone, zombie-like leadership. And the tragedy is, many were extraordinary leaders before the heat got too high for too long. So what's the answer? Interestingly, the answer isn't never use the toaster. Leadership should have heat. The goal isn't zero stress. The goal is sustainable heat, recovery, awareness, adjustment, knowing when the burning light is on, knowing when the warning light is on, knowing when to turn the dial down, knowing when to stop pretending that the burnt bits actually taste fine. Because you see, leadership might be part of your life, but it should never consume the whole slice. And maybe, just maybe, being slacker better is really about learning not to burn for too long and remembering that you are always in control of the dial. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, then you'll undoubtedly enjoy reading my latest book, 54 Quotes and Provocations. It's stacked full of great leadership quotes and ideas to help free up your thinking time so that you can enjoy your job a lot more. Go and get your copy now.